Good morning. Good morning. Please let my words speak for you. I take a deep breath and I release it, bringing myself into the here and now, to this one precious moment that God has made. Aligning myself with the joy and the love that are always there for me. Letting go of anything that has come before and anything that will come after. I open my heart, I open my soul, and I open my mind as I stand in my own authenticity, my own integrity. And I listened to Reverend Diana talking about integrity. I'm deeply grateful for the day. I'm deeply grateful for the smooth, easy-flowing service and for the food afterwards. I'm deeply grateful for the people who come here and very quietly do their thing that makes it more pleasant for the rest of us. And so I just say thank you, Father, Mother, God, and so it is.
So it is.
Amen.
Good morning. My sound man will be up here to join us, help us get going with some song this morning. Michael is out this week. He'll be back by next week.
Okay, you're on now.
Okay, thank you. All right, so we're going to begin as we always do by welcoming you to the Mystic Heart.
Gary, could you push the button for me over there? Thank you.
I texted this morning, but it's okay. All right, the energy get moving.
Welcome to the Mystic Heart. Join the celebration. Lift your voice and sing your part. Make this affirmation. Spirit made us heavenly, loving hearts to share. Together we are joyfully practicing the possible through prayer. Anything's possible through prayer. Welcome to the Mystic Heart.
All right, one big family, here we go. I know I need to get moving this morning. Meditation,
Everybody get up on your feet. See the light. Everybody. Everybody get up on your feet. See the light. Everybody. Let us be reminded who you've come to be. We are love, we are one big family. Hey, 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 hey. Let us make a joyful sound when we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound when we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Hey, 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 everybody, get up on your feet. See the light, everybody. Hey, 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 yeah.
Well, welcome to Mystic Heart this morning. My name is Reverend Diana Johnson, and I'm the pastor and spiritual director here. We're going to begin or continue to connect more fully with one another, and you can either stand or sit or dance or whatever you want, but we're going to sing together our prayers for freedom this morning. singing our prayers. I love to sing my prayers. I love to dance my prayers. It's not just a sitting still thing for me. Doesn't it feel good to join our voices knowing that we are actually shifting the vibration for ourselves and our community, but also for the whole in some small way? Everything we do makes a difference. So let's take that sense of connection a little bit deeper as we acknowledge our oneness with God, with Spirit, and with our global community, envisioning our planet as one huge radiant light, the whole planet just filled and glowing with light. Can you see it in your mind's eye? And then notice that this one giant light is actually made up of just this infinite number of little tiny lights, all enmeshed with one another, each light melding over into all of the others. Each and every human being is shining with its own divine light. Every animal, every plant, every rock, all of the sand on the beach, all of the water, everywhere, is filled with Spirit's life and presence and light. So that we cannot really tell where one begins and the other starts. We're just all part of this oneness. Each one of the individual appearances dependent on all the rest. We're all connected. One light, one life. And so we acknowledge together our responsibility to one another as a human family. And we recognize our responsibility as caretakers of the earth, of the planet that sustains us. And we offer the benefit of our time this morning to the whole, knowing that our willingness to pray and to meditate and to vision and to engage in a conscious conversation, all of this leaves a positive imprint on the future for all beings, for all time. So this morning we're looking at the heart of integrity. I think one of the highest compliments that someone can be paid is for someone to say, you know, she's a woman of integrity. Or, you know, that man has a lot of integrity. When someone says it to us, I don't know, for me anyway, it feels really good to hear that. So why do you suppose it feels good to feel like we have integrity? So what is this? What's it even mean? What does the word mean to you?
Our words match our actions.
Okay, so our words match our actions. So if the words are calling us a person of integrity, then we must be in some way in alignment.
Or our words match our...
Oh, okay, so that's what it looks like, is our words match our actions. Yeah. Okay.
What we say can be believed by
Well,
others.
what we say can be believed by others. They can trust our words because our words and our actions are in alignment. Good.
We follow through.
Okay, we follow through.
It means I have a strong connection to my own God self,
Okay,
and I'm standing with that.
so I have a strong connection to my God self, my highest self, and I'm standing in that and living my life accordingly. Good. So this word integrity from Latin means intact or integrated, combined with another made whole. It has the same root as the word integer. a thing complete in and of itself, integer. And it also shares a root with integral, which means essential or fundamental. So all of these things sort of play into the ideas about integrity. One of my first teachers used to say that integrity was the most important part of walking the spiritual path, before all else. And he defined integrity as honesty with the self and others. But first, honesty with the self, being truthful with ourselves about ourselves. Sometimes that can be the hardest place to be truthful and honest, because sometimes we're not conscious of some of what's going on within us. I'm getting ahead of myself, though. So, integrity reminds me a little bit of when we talked about authenticity, except maybe authenticity on steroids, radical authenticity. You know, being myself, speaking the truth, walking the truth, all the time. Not just living who and what that we were born to be in full living color, which we think of as authentic, but with an awareness of which thoughts and ideas that you have about yourself that are factual stories, and which ideas you have about yourself that are fictional stories. Because we all have ideas and stories about ourselves and our lives, and I would posit that some of them are factual and some of them are fiction. Things that we perceive that may not be perceived by others, or that may not be actually factually true. And I think we all have that. So it's not a good, bad thing. It's just sort of part of being human. Maybe integrity is a kind of radical authenticity that depends on me knowing myself well and accepting myself for who I am, inside and out, speaking truth to myself about myself. So if I'm not self-aware at that level, if I'm not honest with myself, how can I hope to express myself honestly to others? If I'm not really in full alignment in the interior, how can I express honestly? How can I walk my talk? Why would I even want to if I don't even know whether or not those things are in alignment? I mean, if I don't know myself that well, or whether or not my talk is true. In his book, The Laws of Spirit, Dan Millman speaks of the law of integrity. We looked at 4 of his laws last week. But the law of integrity says, by aligning my thoughts, words, and actions with my heart's highest wisdom, I will create a more fulfilling and joyful life. So it's another form of cause and effect. By aligning myself with what my heart knows to be true, my life will become more joyful and contented and peaceful. And the quote that I pulled from his book says, integrity means living and acting in alignment with spiritual law and with our highest vision, despite impulses to the contrary. None of you ever have impulses to the contrary, but I do sometimes. From the heart of integrity, we recognize, accept, and express our authentic interior reality, inspiring others not with words, but by our example. So that was kind of wordy. I'm going to repeat it. Integrity means living and acting in alignment with spiritual law and with our highest vision. So we're consciously taking part in cause and effect and how that works by staying true to our heart's vision, despite impulses to the contrary. Like, I got up this morning and I'm just too tired to do this, or whatever the impulse is. From the heart of integrity, we recognize, accept, and express our authentic interior reality, inspiring others not with words, but by our example. So how we live. So let's make it a little bit simpler. It's about how we behave when nobody else is looking. So is how we present in the world in alignment with how we present at home when there's no one there? It calls forth a genuine expression. This is how he said it, a genuine expression of our internal reality. So what happens when we break this law, or when we know ourselves to be one thing and then we pretend to be something else? What happens? Or when we know something is right and we do something else?
Sets up an internal conflict.
Sets up an internal conflict.
It bugs me until I correct it.
It bugs me till I correct it. Yeah. So do we experience the consequences of that then? By, the act itself is sort of the punishment, right? It's not a punishment, it's just an effect. But the very act of doing it, knowing better, sets that up within us. It begins with a knowing that we did the wrong thing. It bothers us, maybe even tortures us, until that inner knowing attracts to it a fitting consequence. Uh-oh. So if we don't make that adjustment before that happens and realign ourselves, ultimately we can count on some sort of a consequence doing that for us, coming to us to make us realize that, oop, you better get back in line with what you know to be true. So where can we see, what are some of the places we see integrity at work? I mean, we see it in people. We admire it in people when we see it. Where else do we see it?
Nature?
In nature. We can count on the integrity of nature.
Pets and other animals.
Pets and other animals, which is part of nature.
Well, so are we, but we're not that.
Oh. This question right here, aren't we a part of nature? So what is it about integrity that for human beings makes it feel optional? If in nature it's not optional, whether it be plant, weather systems, cycles, animals. Will. Why does that, how's that work, Lucinda?
I was going to say sometimes there's an option that just seems like it would be easier.
Mm-hmm.
Like sometimes not speaking up could avoid hurting someone else, could have, but speaking up is actually, would be standing in integrity.
Okay, so avoidance can get in the way. Will, or not having the will to do, whether you have the will to do or don't have the will to follow through.
Will is being able to choose my actions.
Okay, so the ability to choose the action. So it's this great big intelligent forebrain that we have that plants and other animals, as far as we know, don't have. They don't have that ability to analyze and compare and all of that, to choose in that way.
And wonder if they'll be accepted if they say what's on their mind.
And wonder, will I be accepted? Yeah. So don't get me wrong, I think this intelligent brain is a blessing in so many ways. But we have to use our consciousness to direct its use. By itself, it's just a machine. The brain is a machine. It has to be used constructively, or it will be used to destroy in some way. You either build up or tear down. Okay. So what is it that directs the brain? Okay, I see somebody pointing to the heart. Okay.
Hopefully.
Yeah, ideally, yeah. So what about mind? What is mind? I hear people talk about the mind all the time as though it is the brain. What do you think about that?
I think it's the same thing. Someone talks about mind, thinking, brain.
Mm-hmm.
Reason.
Reason.
Intentions.
Okay, intentions. So what about this idea that we're all of one mind? Do we all have the same brain?
I think the brain is the organ of the mind.
Okay, so the brain is an organ or the organ?
Well, the organ of the intellectual functioning of it.
Okay,
But,
so the brain is the the organ of the intellectual functioning of the mind.
the divine mind would be more inclusive.
Okay,
I think the brain or the mind is producing thoughts, and beyond the thoughts is the universal mind.
Okay.
My viewpoint. That's how I understand it.
okay. So can you see how we get so confused in our conversation about brain, mind, intelligence, heart, because we all have our own perspectives of what that means, which is, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. We all have our own ideas. I saw a hand over
It
here.
was mine, but you covered it.
Oh.
I was going to say, isn't the heart a big one in there too?
Yeah, and Dawn back there pointed right away to the heart.
I think also, when you talk about being of one mind, I think that has a lot to do with environment,
Okay.
conditioning. So you might be in a group of people that have a certain way of thinking about things. And You
Okay.
can say we are of one mind. Doesn't necessarily mean it's a good mind, but that's how they
Right.
think about things.
Okay. So we are of one mind. We have the same ideas or similar ways of doing things, which may or may not be good or right or true. Yeah, Mark.
Well, we aspire to the higher mind, if you will, but we have to cope with the lower mind
Mhm.
and its existence also.
Okay. So I understand that many people equate the lower mind with the brain. I don't necessarily. I include the brain and the heart and their interactions in that myself. Not that one is right or wrong. That's just, as I'm speaking, know that that's where I'm speaking from. That for me, mind is my awareness. It's my consciousness. And that incorporates the use of my intelligence and my brain and my intuition and my heart, ideally in balance and working together. So again, that's not necessarily right or true, that's just where I'm going to be speaking from. So the wisdom of the ages has challenged us to get in touch with the observer. For me, the mind is the observer, and it does use the brain, and it does use the intuitive sense. Plato said, "Know thyself," way back in 400 BCE. One of the countless famous quotes from William Shakespeare's Hamlet says, "This above all, to thine own self be true, and it must follow as the night the day, thou canst not then be false to any man." So this is all for me going back to being in integrity, being true to yourself, to your own highest wisdom. To thine own self be true. That can mean a number of things also, right? To different people. What does that mean to you? To thine own self be true.
You used the word fulfillment earlier, and
Mhm.
that is a goal.
Okay.
So the more you practice in those, using those higher capacities, the more habitual those thoughts become, and then you can embody the one mind of a higher nature.
Okay. What am I hearing? So to me it feels, for me it feels like being true to myself is living in integrity. Knowing myself, being... For me it feels like being true to myself is What are we getting? We're getting an echo. I thought so. Can you hear it?
Not anymore.
Not anymore?
Can you?
Yes, we all can. Being truthful with myself so that, as Gary was saying, our actions and our words line up, are authentic, are consistent with our highest intentions. So that our body, mind, emotions, and attitudes all complement one another. They're integrated, forming a whole that's greater than the sum of its parts.
Yeah.
Ghost guy.
Yes?
Oh, Barbara's listening on Bluetooth and it's
Oh,
picking up on that.
she turned it off, she said.
It wasn't,
Wasn't
Yeah,
lining
it's
up.
still on.
no.
That's all right.
Okay,
You would, it just didn't
okay,
work.
okay, that's fine. So, in order to live from integrity, I would posit that we have to know our innermost drives and our values and our motives. We have to be aware of those within ourselves. Only then can we accept and live from who we really are, rather than pretending to be something or someone else. Dan Millman says again in his book, it takes courage and openness to achieve authenticity. To be able to say to yourself and to the world, like it or not, this is who I am, and then live that truth. Maybe you could take a look at her phone, because she says she thinks
I
it's
turned it
off.
on.
Okay, but it's still happening somehow, I don't know why.
Yeah, mine
Anyway.
was off too, so.
Okay. Some days just, you gotta roll with it. I think every day actually you have to roll with it. So does living from integrity mean that your life always looks perfect? Just because you're standing in your integrity, living by your heart, what you know to be true for you, does that automatically roll out into life being flawless?
Well, external situations and circumstances that always come up.
Right. So you're not the only one living in the space or being in the space. Everybody's creating, co-creating together, right? So out on the road, there's all the drivers. There's not just you. Does living from integrity have to be difficult? Because I've heard people say, oh, it's really hard to do that all the time.
Life will be as difficult as you choose to make it.
Okay.
So no, it doesn't have to be, but a lot of times we put so much drama around it that it feels that way.
Okay, so that drama, maybe that's going back to which stories about me are factual and which stories about me are fictional. Drama is usually sort of, trumped up in some way, right?
Oh yeah.
So maybe that's not the actual factual story of my life, but what I'm turning it into. Maybe.
I think it doesn't necessarily have to be hard, but it's risky and it takes courage.
Okay, so it's risky and it takes courage, which doesn't have to be hard.
But that's from a social standpoint.
Right. It takes attention, a willingness, right?
Those intentions can sometimes be so high that the reality doesn't allow you to reach those intentions and live them in the moment.
Right.
Sometimes your intentions are beyond your grasp.
That is beautiful. That's perfect. Because it answers a question I hadn't even asked, so you're really tuned in with where I am here. What do you suppose we need to do first and foremost to step into integrity? And what you just voiced was basically accept our humanity. You're over-grasping, we overreach sometimes, instead of accepting our humanity. And that human beings are fallible. It doesn't mean we're imperfect or broken. It means that we make mistakes. because we have this freedom of choice and we have these learning that we do in our lifetimes. But in all of our imperfections, I believe we are created perfectly, intentionally, in the image and likeness of our Creator. So the fallibility is built in, and that's okay. God created us to be human. We are human beings. By our nature, we each have weaknesses, and we each have strengths. All of us. No matter who we're looking at, or how they come across in the world, everybody's got weaknesses and strengths. So living according to the law of integrity means dropping the judgment, self-judgment, the self-criticism, and accepting our weaknesses and drawing on our inner strengths. So we have to pay attention to what those are so that we can either let go of, not give so much attention to, or improve our weaknesses. Nothing wrong with giving that attention. But it's when we can do that that we can become examples for others to follow as well. Is any one light the same as any other? We talked about our radiant light, the planet Earth, and out beyond that. And then each of us being a little individualized light within the light. Is any one of us the same? Is any animal, is any tree the same as any other? No. God created all of its creation to be absolutely unique, to express uniqueness, to shine our individual rays of light into the whole. It's who we are in the world that leads others. It's walking our talk that serves as an example. So when asked if he would consider becoming a teacher of men, Mahatma Gandhi said, "My life is my teaching." As I looked at the 12 spiritual laws presented in Millman's book, I realized that integrity lies at the heart of all of the others. It was one of the 12, but it lies, I think, at the heart of all of them. Last week we talked about the law of balance, the law of choice, the law of process, and the law of presence. So let's take a moment to reflect on how these spiritual principles connect with the law of integrity. So balance. What was the law of balance talking about?
The middle way?
Okay, the middle way.
Moderation.
Moderation. No extreme this way, no extreme that way. And that when we can maintain that middle way, there is a wholeness and a completeness about our lives. So when I feel complete within myself, a natural balance occurs within me and within my experience. And that sense of balance moves me toward integrity. I think it moves me in the direction of integrity. So the law of choice. What was the law of choice about?
We can't not choose.
We can't not choose. We're always choosing. It's our nature. It's in our nature. Even if we're choosing to not choose, it's a choice. So we're choosing beings. So when I feel whole and complete, balanced within myself, I'm open and listening to inner guidance. And when I'm open to inner guidance, my choices are in integrity with who I am, with who I'm here to be, with the wisdom of my heart. So those are tied together. The law of process, what was that about?
How creation unfolds.
How creation unfolds, one step at a time, one thing after another. That we can accomplish anything if we break it down into small enough pieces. So when I'm balanced, making guided choices, I'm feeling whole within myself, my life flows more easily, the creative process can unfold more easily and gracefully, and I come into closer integrity with my life's purpose. I'm being who I'm here to be. And then the law of presence. What was that about?
Like getting distracted by the past and the future and being.
Okay, so being in the moment, here and now. When you're here and now, know you're here and now. When you're engaging in something, be fully present with it.
Accepting it as a gift.
Accepting it as a gift, yeah. So when I'm feeling whole within myself, there is nothing to really distract me from the present moment. If I'm complete with who I am, where I am, here and now, that takes a lot of the distractions out of my path. And so again, I'm living in integrity with this moment. So we're going to offer you a musical meditation this morning that speaks to everything that we've been talking about this morning. It's called Right Here and Right Now. So I invite you to just relax, soak it in. Right here and right now, in this sacred moment, I feel the presence of your holy grace. Everywhere I look, everything I see glows with beauty, joy, and light. It's pure divinity when I remember. Do you remember that right here, right now, in this holy moment, you are the presence of Spirit's holy grace. Make the journey home to that quiet place, deep within your heart and soul. Breathe and feel the grace. Please remember, you must remember, there is no time, there is no space, no yesterday and no
hearts and our brains are in a state of constant communication with each other, continually monitoring and informing one another, but they're not always in coherence. Sometimes they get a little out of sync. A central goal of spiritual practice is to align our heart, mind, body, and spirit with our highest intentions. As we bring our heart and mind into coherence and work to align our thoughts, words, and actions with our deepest beliefs, we move toward integration. We bring all of our energies into alignment and focus them like a laser beam. As we focus all of our thoughts, feelings, faith, imagination, and will on our intention, Spirit responds powerfully. In this moment, I invite you to center your attention on the area around your heart and lungs. As you inhale slowly, imagine the divine breath of Spirit filling your heart with unconditional love. And as you exhale gently, radiate that love out to all of creation. Continue breathing slowly from your heart center. Allow your heart to guide the heart-mind communication. Let the mind gently fall into sync with the heart. Imagine all of your energies flowing together like tributaries into a single stream. Integrate all aspects of yourself into that flow of unconditional love. Feel the stream grow in power, beauty, love, and joy. Now bring your highest intention to mind. Examine it deeply. Let your creative imagination play with it. Visualize it. When it is fulfilled, what will it look like? Sound like? Feel like? Taste like? Now imagine your intention floating on the powerful river of your integrated self. All of your feelings, faith, and love are working together to move your dream toward its realization. As we enter the sacred silence, watch your intention float away and give thanks for the absolute knowing that it is fulfilled. bringing our awareness back into the here and now. We give thanks for this time of blessed communion with Spirit. Grateful for the alignment of our heart, mind, body, and spirit. We find ourselves in true integrity, wholehearted and one with the divine. Thank you, God, for everyone and everything. I invite you to know with me now that Spirit is moving powerfully through each of us and through our beloved community. Individually and collectively, we are a powerful influence on our world. As we evolve in consciousness, the benefits and blessings of our growth ripple out to the entire world. As Reverend Diana continues her inspired guidance of this conscious conversation, we participate with open minds and receptive hearts. We are in full alignment, complete coherence, living from the heart of integrity.
So continuing in the sort of meditative mood, what does it mean to be truthful with myself? As human beings, we're tempted to tell the relative truth, both to ourselves and to others. For example, in this moment, I may feel angry, or hurt, or happy, or bored. But that is never the whole truth. It's just how I'm feeling right now. So it's true, but it's a relative truth. Relative is changeable. It's likely that an hour from now, or a day from now, or a minute from now, I'm going to feel different, and my relative truth will be different. So it's not my deepest truth. We tend to interpret the way we're feeling or sensing and the related experiences that we're having as the truth. But really, they're just a part of our personal story. We all have one of those. My personal story. Spiritual teacher Gangaji shares this perspective. She says, the personal story is believed to be the truth. Whether the emotional story is one of anguish or one of bliss, it is not the final truth. To be able to distinguish between the story and the truth is an aspect of discriminating wisdom, which in turn is a natural byproduct of self-inquiry. So she, just as many, 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 many other wisdom teachers over the course of history, teaches a lot about self-inquiry, deep self-inquiry. Because it's so easy to mistake the physical or the mental or the emotional bodies for who we really are. Our language gives us away. We say things like, I'm sad, or I'm in pain, or I'm upset right now, or I'm angry. Instead of, my emotions are a little unstable today. Who says that? Feels to me like it's more accurate. Or to say, you know, wow, there's anger appearing in me right now. We don't say that. We say, I'm angry. I'm upset. We claim it. We make it who we are. My body is feeling pain today. We don't say that. We say, I'm in pain. I hurt. So we take it on as who we are. But if we can learn to use our language to our advantage, we open a way for change to occur more smoothly and readily in our experience. We know that everything is always in flux, so we can learn to trust that unstable emotions will stabilize, given time. Happens. We don't stay unstable forever. That anger, if we allow it to ebb and flow, will disappear. You know, feel it completely, allow it to rise up, and then let it go. It will go. And with proper care, which means letting go of resistance and upset, pain will eventually decrease in most cases and disappear, unless there are extenuating long-term circumstances. So I want to read you just a couple paragraphs from This is Gangaji, the Diamond in Your Pocket. So I didn't want to type 2 paragraphs out. Everything is subject to change. What is not subject to change? Your true nature. Whatever you think you are, see if it is subject to change. If it is, then as an experiment, discard that belief and tell the truth about what remains. Boy, I don't know if that would leave much. What does not change with the changing of your body? What does not change with the changing of your circumstances? What does not change when your emotions change? Tell the truth all the way. Don't settle for a superficial relative truth. Tell the truth all the way until you know yourself as changelessly present. Telling the truth has to be even more important than enlightenment, more important than happiness. Through devotion to telling the truth, and then the ever deeper truth, your personal story in all its shocking dimensions is revealed to have no final reality. So yes, the stories of our lives are the relative things we experience. That doesn't lessen their importance in our experience. But to make them bigger than they are, by saying, this is all that I am, is the stories of the things that are changing and moving through my life, is doing ourselves a disservice. We're more than that. We are the divine in expression, with all of the potential, all of the God qualities already embedded in us, in place. We can access these qualities at any time that we use our will and our power of choice to do so. So now let's anchor that truth in prayer as we close today. Divine Spirit, Presence, God. I know that this one divine source is all that is. It is within me. It is within each one of us. It is living as each one of us, and it surrounds us so that we swim in its very presence. There is no separation between what thou art and what I am. And so I know, right here in this moment, that I am completely whole and complete, made in the image and likeness of the Creator, with all of the potential that that brings. So I know that there is a natural balance occurring in my body, my mind, my emotions, my life. I claim this balance for myself, knowing it as my God self. There's a divine process always at work in my life. offering the graceful flow of love and compassion and generosity and abundance and all of those qualities of spirit, offering that into the unfolding of every thought and every word and every action and every experience in my life. The choices that I make are in alignment with my heart's deepest wisdom. I remain fully present, living as presence in the world. Living from the integrity that comes from telling the full truth to myself and others. And as each of us steps more fully into alignment with that whole truth of who we are and what we are here for, we're doing our part to create a love-soaked world. Together we envision a world in which we are called to a higher state of awareness and action, individually and collectively. A world where every being discovers and lives from their authenticity and their spiritual authority. We envision a world where personal responsibility joins with social conscience in every area of society. A world that is peaceful, joyful, abundant, and free. Where all humans practice loving kindness toward one another and care for our beautiful planet with love and respect. We envision a world where all needs are met, where all beings have plenty of nourishing food, the safety of a warm and comfortable home, medical care and education, healthy relationships, right livelihood, creative contribution, and a sense of belonging. A world where there is true justice, where every being is valued for its inherent goodness and light, where the peace we cultivate within ourselves shows up as a world free of hatred and violence. We feel and know a world without greed, where there is abundance in having enough. Where every being as a precious creation of God is deserving of all the blessings life has to offer, and receives those blessings willingly and gratefully. With humanity serving as the vessels through which God's blessings flow, there is no reason we cannot have such a world. And so we know that it is taking form as we speak our powerful word. In this holy moment, we consciously place our faith in the constant and infallible generosity of spirit. We offer our heartfelt vision. We feel it. We know it. And the world is changed right now in this instant. A smile comes to my face and gratitude fills my heart to overflowing. We are living as the authentic divine humans that we were put here to be, and the world is a better place because of it. I'm deeply grateful for the many freedoms we enjoy in our lives. Grateful for each one who is here today in community, and for the commitment to spiritual growth and evolution that each one brings. I'm so thankful for how far we've come, for the many ways we serve our greater community. So grateful that we are able to carry food on a weekly basis to those in need. So grateful for the growth we are experiencing in our community. And so knowing the amazing power of prayer, I celebrate this graceful unfolding into form and experience. I release my word into the loving and powerful presence that receives it and acts upon it. I let it go, and God does their thing, and so it is. Amen.
wouldn't be surprised if peace broke out all over. I wouldn't be surprised if I found a four-leaf clover, 'cause miracles abound. They happen all around me every day. I wouldn't be surprised if we put an end to hunger. I wouldn't be surprised if we just kept getting younger, 'cause miracles abound, happen all around me every day. And life keeps blessing me with so much good. I wouldn't change it even if I could. Blessing me in every way, and if it all turns out okay, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised at all. I wouldn't be surprised if I found out every answer. I won't be surprised when we find a cure for cancer, 'cause miracles abound. They happen all around me every day. And life keeps blessing me with so much good. I wouldn't change it even if I could. Blessing me in every way, and if it all turns out okay, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised at all. Oh, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised at all. Life keeps blessing me with so much good. I wouldn't change it even if I could. Blessing me in every way, and if it all turns out okay, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised at all. Life keeps blessing me with so much good. I wouldn't change it even if I could. Blessing me in every way, and if it all turns out okay, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised at all. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised at all.
So every Sunday, we offer you the opportunity to share of your financial goods, should you choose to, with our community to help support the work that we're doing in the world. So as we begin our offering today, I invite you to please speak these words as an affirmation of truth. As I awaken to the God within me and all around me, I see abundance everywhere I look. I consciously step into that flow of abundance by this act of giving. I honor this gift freely in the spirit of love, blessing and sending it forth to heal and prosper. It is evidence of my deep faith. It does good work in the world and blesses all of creation. I give from a consciousness of abundance. And so it is. Amen. We haven't done any Jason Mraz for a while. So integrity, you do you, I'll do me.
Who it is that you want me to be, I can't be. I can only do me. I can only go where life takes me, yeah. Who it is that you want me to be, I can't be. I can only do me. I can only be how God made me, yeah. There's only one of me, incredibly uniquely designed. I keep my focus up ahead and leave my worries behind. I know that any goal I wanna reach starts in my mind. I know I'm dope cause I'm smoking my kind. I like to take my own path, never following the masses. I do my thing, taking risks, taking chances. I see no boundaries, no impasses to living my realized dream, keeping music fresh. You do you, I'll do me. Together we'll make harmony. Together we make the world go round, 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 round. You do you, and I'll do me. Together we'll make harmony. Together we may dance differently, but it's all good. I'm easily inspired by the people surrounding me, but still I take pride in my individuality. I might be different from the people in my family, but the truth is their roots keep grounding me. There ain't no mystery to my mastery. I just let myself act naturally. Whatever I dream may not be easy to achieve, cause I still believe in equality. So you do you, and I'll do me. Together we make harmony. Together we make the world go round, 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 round. You do you, I'll do me. Together we'll make harmony. Together we may dance differently, but it's all good. I love the way you do you, no defense. Got your own style and you got your own season. Got your own style, you got your own reason. 24/7, rock your own uniqueness. Yeah, you got me on my knees, you're my sweetness. You doing you is the ultimate realness. This me you think we got, let's keep this. Loving you is much deeper than a reflex. Reflex, 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 reflex.
Yo, wait a minute, let me rap it for the girls. We never gonna quit it till we truly rule the world. Popular vote says we should rule the world, so we're gonna march until our voices get heard. Who it is that you want me to be, I can't be. All it is that I'm asking to be is just free, free to make my choices and raise my voice. So tell me where my sisters at, make some noise and sing it with us.
You do you, and I'll do me. Together we'll make harmony. Together we make the world go round, round, round. Yo, there's only one of me that ever will be. Never lonely by myself, so I keep doing me. Never phony, I'm not tripping on how things should be. I just go with the flow, carefree. Who it is that you want me to be, I can't be. Who it is that you're hoping to see, that ain't me. We're just inquisitive kids on a mystic fringe, on a mission to deliver us a happier reality. So you do you, I'll do me. Together we'll make harmony. Together we make the world go round, 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 round. You do you, I'll do me. Together we make harmony. Together we make love and we'll make it loud, loud, loud. You do you, oh, I'll do me. Together we'll make harmony. Together we make the world go round, 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 round. You do you, I'll do me. Together we'll make harmony. Together we may dance differently, but it's all good. MC Flow.
Field trip to the ranch.
And in that spirit, the spirit of joy, love, laughter, peace, and energetic dancing, I say thank you. Thank you for the gifts that are given to this church on a regular basis. Thank you for the hands that work, the money that comes in that will help us to spread our joy and love even further. and for each and every person who contributes time, talent, or energy. I say thank you, Father, Mother, God, and so it is. And thank you for the prosperity of Mystic Heart so we can go to our new place. And so it is. Amen.
May your soul always find what it's looking for. May your heart always lead the way. May you live in peace and harmony. And may love always fill your day. May your path be strewn with happiness. May success find you everywhere. May you always embrace compassion and grace. And may God always answer your prayer. May you always embrace compassion and grace. And may God always answer your prayer. All right, just one time around so we can get ourselves moving toward sweet dreams. All together, hand in hand, we see the light, we take a stand, and we are changing. A whole new life for you and me. Take your rest and set it free and share this blessing. Love be with you, peace enfold you, spirit lift you, breathe it in. Truth come through you, make good flow to you, let joy renew you until we meet again. Love be with you, love be with you, love be with you, love be with you, love be with you until we meet again. Love be with you. Ooh, love be with you. Now breathe it in. Love be with you. Ooh, love be with you. Love be with you. Ooh, love be with you. Now breathe it in. Love be with you. Have a beautiful Sunday.
See you out at the lake.
Woo.